you have ID.
Am I being detained?
You are now, yeah.
Okay, wonderful. That's all I needed to hear.
Boy contact me.
And so you guys don't have body cams? Why is that?
I don't have them.
Why is that? You should know, right?
I'm an officer. I'm not management. I don't know. So, what was your purpose in coming today?
To hand out waters and to make people happy.
Ma'am, real quick, like we got called out, right? When people are chalking, it's state property. So if that happens, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's a misdemeanor. If you pick a rose right there because it's on state property, the law is a misdemeanor. So hold on, let me talk, okay? I know that you want to tell us what to do and how to do our job.
I'm not. I'm asking questions.
I'm just explaining, but you're stepping over us.
I'm asking questions.
Yes, we're asking questions.
And I also am. I'm not.
Do you want me to finish where I was going? I was trying to be super polite.
Taxpayer-funded officers are solving big crimes in Sacramento these days while playing the victim.
Sure, and I also am. But
Okay.
go ahead.
So let us, it's gonna go nowhere, right? But when our supervisor says that they've on-viewed vandalism, which it is,
Sure.
we have to make contact, we have to do our job,
Great.
and it'll be done and over. Just like less attitude is better for everybody, right?
I'm answering your questions.
Okay.
I don't have to answer them
You
nicely.
weren't answering my questions.
I actually
You
was.
refused.
No, I was asking you questions.
I'm telling you, you refused.
And then this dude throws a hissy fit prolonging this woman's detainment.
I didn't refuse.
That's why I required your ID.
I asked you why you needed to see my ID, and I asked you if I was being detained. And you said yes, so I immediately pulled out my ID. I didn't refuse.
Okay, you did.
As we all saw roughly 1 minute ago, this is not true, but carry on.
Which part?
Which part?
That I refused.
When I asked you for your ID, you refused.
I asked you why, and I asked you, am I being detained?
I'm telling you, you refused. Period.
What part of that is refusal?
When you didn't give it to me when I asked.
I asked if I was being detained. That's not refusal, it's a question. I have the right to ask you if I'm being detained before you ask for my ID. Before I give you my ID, excuse me.
Ladies and gents, this is a polarizing example of where your money is going.
I'd like to bring you up to speed because you came in a little bit late here.
Ma'am, if you
I'm
don't
actually
wanna
talking. I'm actually talking
I know, you
for
talked
sure.
over me many times.
So am
Here's your driver's
so I
license.
can't.
You're free to go.
Okay, wonderful.
If you don't want us here, you can leave.
Thank
Please don't
you.
talk.
As the caption read from the uploader Sevy Wild, after being threatened with arrest and gaslighted for 30 minutes, they kept me for another 15 minutes after this with more threats of arrest, and then rode by our youth multiple times to re-traumatize them. Now, there's a few points to make here, and the first is by far beyond the most troubling. In June of 2022, the Sacramento City Council approved a $1.4 billion budget for the upcoming fiscal year, including another record-high police department spending plan. The totals are devastating. The approved $224 million police budget rose from the $207 million amended budget for the current financial year ending June 30th, city documents show. That Sacramento police budget set the previous record and was an about $9 million increase compared to the year before when approved. One of the greatest shooters of all time, NBA Hall of Famer Reggie Miller, retweeted the following: "What is Sacramento police doing about this? She's broken no laws. Chalk is not vandalism in California," which we'll get to in a moment. "Why aren't your officers better trained in the laws of the state? There was zero justification for this encounter, and these two should be fired immediately." Now, as it comes to this guy saying that what these outreach workers did was a misdemeanor, well, a California court disagrees with him. In 2013, Jeff Olson was arrested after he wrote adverse statements aimed at Bank of America on the sidewalk at several of its locations. His artwork included statements such as, "Not thanks, big banks," accompanied by drawings of an octopus reaching for dollar bills. Bank of America's vice president, Daryl Freeman, complained to the deputy city attorney and the San Diego gang unit, which ultimately led to the vandalism charges. So he's a narc. B of A claimed that it cost them $6,000 to remove the chalk drawing. $6,000? Just a quick question for everybody watching this piece. Does it take $6,000 to remove drawings like this? Come on. Turns out the jury dismissed the vandalism charges against Mr. Olson. He was acquitted on July 1st, 2013 of all 13 counts of vandalism. He faced 13 counts, which could have resulted in 13 years locked up or fines of $13,000. The fact that someone drew chalk and could have got 13 years is a problem. The fact that these two ladies were in a park doing outreach and drawing rainbows with chalk even got to the point of detainment is preposterous. Yet if you want to see the biggest waste of taxpayer money, look no further than police precincts across the country.